guys, welcome back to A Little Less Lisa. If you're new here, my name is Lisa, and this channel is all about my health and wellness journey. I have just finished sort of phase one of this journey, and that was a weight loss journey. I am currently in maintenance, and my focus now is sort of on resistance training, trying to shift my body composition so it's a little more lean muscle and a little less body fat. And then we'll see where we go from here on this journey. But today I want to talk to you about if I was starting over on my GLP-1 journey, what would I perhaps do differently? And I guess my top 10 tips for starting a successful GLP-1 journey. So the very first thing that I would do if I were about to embark on a GLP-1 journey is to get a DEXA scan. Now, if you all are new to my channel, I had a DEXA scan done it's probably been maybe 6 weeks or so now. I will link that video up in the cards here and down in the description box so you can watch that video if you haven't watched it. But probably my biggest regret is not having done that to begin with. And honestly, I didn't do it because I didn't know these things existed. So hopefully this will help somebody out there who is about to embark on this journey, and now you'll know about it. If you don't know what a DEXA scan is, it is a low-level X-ray. It was originally developed I believe, to determine bone density. And it is now essentially the gold standard in determining body composition. So basically what you do, and I'll pop another picture up here so you can see what the machine looks like, but you basically lay on this table and there's this big sort of L-shaped arm that runs along the length of the table, and it essentially stops, every few inches along your body and does a scan, and then it moves, and then it scans, and then it moves. Anyway, it takes about 5 to 7 minutes. There's no pain, you feel nothing, you just lay there still on the table while it completes it, and then it spits all the information into a computer, and somebody goes over that with you, and you go on your merry way. But it is, I think, really, really informative, because while having a smart scale, and we'll talk about scales here in a minute, are really helpful because you can see directionally, where your body is going, they aren't necessarily the most accurate when it comes to, actual numbers. Like I said, directionally, they're great. So I really wish that I had a DEXA scan before I started so I could really see accurately how my body composition has changed since being on a GLP-1 medication and losing 45 pounds. Now, obviously I've had one, so now because I'm really focused on working on my body composition and increasing lean muscle mass, etc., it is still beneficial to me because now I'm hoping to see, what progress I'm making in this, like I said, new part of my journey. But it really would have been nice to know where I started. Another great tip that I think will really help in your success is to start hydrating your body well before you even take your first shot. I started drinking a lot of water maybe a few days before I took my first injection, but I think as soon as you are, pretty sure, or maybe you've put that prescription in or you've met with your doctor, I would start hydrating. I think that you will really help yourself when it comes to potential GI side effects down the road if you start hydrating your body now. In addition to that, you're just getting your body into its optimal, performance. You're giving your body and cells what it really needs to function properly and to start flushing out, fat and toxins and things like that out of your system. And it's not going to be sort of this, oh my gosh, I have to do everything at once. If you kind of start building some of these habits and some of these things that you really need to do to stay healthy early on. Tip number 3, get a reliable scale. Now, like I said, A DEXA scan is great, and that's going to really help you with your body composition, but you do need a reliable scale to, see your weight loss progress. Now, for some people, that may be triggering, and if that is something for you, and you shouldn't weigh yourself because, like I said, you've had issues with that in the past, perhaps this is one that you should skip, and maybe you look at other things. Maybe just you use how your clothes are fitting, that kind of thing. But if weighing yourself is not going to trigger you, I really think it's helpful to have a scale at home that you can get on first thing in the morning after you've gone to the bathroom, and you can be naked in your bathroom and stand on the scale. I do like a smart scale. Again, I don't think they are 100% accurate down to the actual measurement that you're getting, but I do think that they are very directionally accurate. So you can see, okay, my body fat percentage is starting about here, and after 8 weeks and losing 9.3 pounds, now my body fat percentage is down here. Like like I said, it's one more indication that you're going in the right direction. And sometimes some of those other things can change and show changes in your body, or maybe weight isn't necessarily the all-defining factor. So I do think that having a reliable scale, again, it doesn't have to be a smart scale, although I do think that they are helpful. If you're looking for one, I do have a list of kind of GLP-1 Essentials always listed in my description box, so you're welcome to go check out those down there. Just, as an FYI, those generally are affiliate links, so I do make a small commission if you click on the link and buy something. It doesn't cost you anymore, but I do get a very, very small little commission if you buy something using one of those links, but you certainly do not have to use those links at all. The next tip is to stock up on some high protein foods. And I mean high quality protein foods. And what I mean by that are foods that have that calorie to protein ratio that puts it in a high protein type product. And if you missed my high protein snack idea video, again, I'll have that linked up in the cards and down below. But the formula that you want to look at when you're deciding whether something is really a good source of protein as it relates to the number of calories is to look at the calories. So let's say the serving is 150 calories and the number of protein grams is 15. What you do is you add a 0 to the end of the number of protein grams. So in this case, it's 15 grams of protein. You add a 0. That number is now 150. And you compare that to the number of calories in the serving. In this case, I said that the calories were 150 calories. So in this case, you have essentially a 1-to-1 kind of ratio, if you want to think of it that way. The goal here is to have the protein number when you add a 0 to be as close as possible to that calorie number, if not greater. So let's say it was 150 calories and it's 20 grams of protein. You add a 0 to the 20, you now have 200. So now your protein number is even higher than your calorie number, and that is tremendous. So when you are starting out on a GLP-1 medication, you are probably going to see some decreased appetite and an increase in fullness. And especially the few days after you first take your shot, you may feel like you can't really eat much of anything. So you really want to ensure that you have some high protein, high quality protein foods in your kitchen, in your pantry, so that, if you're only going to be able to eat 2-3 things, those things that you're eating are filled with protein. So here are just a few examples of those. Again, I would highly recommend that protein snack on the go for some additional options, but here are some that just kind of came, to top of mind. The first is yogurt, specifically Greek yogurt. There's a lot more protein in Greek yogurt. Second would be protein drinks. Again, same concept. You just are drinking something, so that might be easier than actually physically eating something. Cottage cheese, again, great macros when it comes to protein versus calories. Protein bars, same thing. Again, make sure though that when you're looking at protein bars, that's one area where it looks like you're getting a good amount of protein, but when you compare it to the amount of calories, it may not be so great. So again, look for protein bars that, meet that add a 0 to the calories comparison. Egg whites are a great way to get extra protein in. You'll get more grams of protein out of egg whites than you will out of a whole egg because the protein is actually in the whites, not the yolk. And finally, tuna is another one that is great source of protein. Next tip, while you're at that grocery store or at the pharmacy, stock up on some GI medications. So hopefully it won't be so bad, especially if you're hydrating well and early in advance. Your body will be, like I said, really moving things through its system productively. But in the case where you do start having some GI issues, maybe you're suffering from a little constipation, maybe you're suffering from a little diarrhea or some nausea, have some of those over-the-counter medicines handy. So either a gentle laxative or some Miralax that, will help again bring water into your colon so things are not getting stuck and you're able to, eliminate those things out of your body. Have some magnesium in your medicine cabinet. I personally like Mag 07. Again, Amazon, you can get it there. So just make sure that you have a few of those things that kind of cover sort of the majority of the type of GI side effects that most people encounter, which are nausea, diarrhea, and constipation. If you have something that kind of addresses all three of those things, you'll be set. The next tip, and I have no idea what number we're on right now, is to decide, are you going to track or not track? Are you going to, like I said, track your calories, not track your food? What are you going to do with that? Again, some people may be triggered by that. So, if you've had negative experiences in the past, perhaps you struggle with a past, ED, and that's something that isn't, good for your mental health to be tracking things, then a couple of these next things probably aren't going to apply to you. But you should decide to start whether you're going to do that. If you decide that you are going to track your calories and protein and things like that, you have to do a couple things. So the next tip is you need to, 1, determine what your BMR is, or your basal metabolic rate. And then 2, based on your basal metabolic rate, determine what your calorie deficit goal is going to be. So again, I will list, have a link in my description box of a website that you can go to that will help you calculate this. And your metabolic rate, your basal metabolic rate, your BMR, will change as you lose weight, right? Because your basal metabolic rate is dependent on your current weight. So your basal metabolic rate is basically the number of calories that your body needs to just exist. So if you just laid in a bed, did absolutely nothing but breathe, that is the number of calories that your body takes to, maintain its internal organs and its systems and all of that to be alive. And that's your basal metabolic rate. Well, obviously, as you lose weight, you need fewer calories to, have those systems going. So you probably want to revisit that BMR and calorie deficit number as you move through your process, especially if you have a really large amount of weight to lose. If you need to lose 200 pounds, for example, to be in a healthy weight category, maybe every 50 pounds or so, you want to reevaluate, just, go back to that calculator and recalculate what it is, because you may need to kind of adjust some of those things. But definitely make sure you know your BMR and what your calorie deficit number is. The next tip, again, if you are going to be tracking, is to find out how much protein you need. Again, protein is crucial when you're on a weight loss journey. Not only does it help you preserve lean muscle mass, but it's something that your body needs for fuel. You really want to focus on getting a minimum number of protein grams each day. And if you don't know that number, you don't know what your target is. So make sure, again, I will have a protein calculator link in the description box so you can click on that, figure out what your protein goals need to be. If you're using some sort of tracking app for your food, for example, I use Lose It. A lot of people use MyFitnessPal. I'm sure there are a plethora of other ones out on the various app stores that you can download. A lot of those can also help you determine what your different macro goals should be. I personally don't focus on any other macro goal other than protein. I don't particularly watch how many carbs I'm eating or how many grams of fat I'm eating. I really just focus on protein. And like I said, protein is really, really crucial as you're losing weight so that you can try as hard as possible to maintain as much of the lean muscle mass as you have so that you're losing fat and not as much muscle. Everybody's going to lose some lean muscle during weight loss, but the more protein you eat and the more you focus on that, you're less likely to lose the lean muscle than you are the fat. The final thing I think that you need, again, if you have decided you're going to be tracking your food and your calories and your protein, for example, is a good food scale. Again, if you don't have one and you're looking for a good one, I think there's one linked in the description box, but I use my food scale every single day. Now, there are some things that now, because I have measured it so many times for the last 20 weeks, that I know what a serving is. But I think that you will find it enlightening to start measuring some of your food. For example, I don't know about you guys, but I really like cashews. And if I was to eat cashews before I started weighing them, I would just pour some into a bowl or frankly, not even pour them in a bowl. Just take the whole container over and just, eat mindlessly, whatever. But an actual serving of cashews, which is general 28 grams, is probably the equivalent of maybe 12 to 15 cashews. Not very many. When you see in a little bowl the actual quantity of one serving of cashews, you'll probably laugh out loud like I did, thinking, I would have eaten normally 3 times this number of cashews and not thought twice about it. So I think, especially in the United States, our, visual perspective on servings is really, really skewed. Our serving portions at restaurants are way more than what the daily recommended amount is. And I think we all have, like I said, a very skewed view of what an actual serving is. So if you are going to be somebody who tracks, it is, I think, imperative to have a food scale because it will really, really help you be accurate in tracking what you're eating. And so you really know, have you gotten to your calorie deficit? Have you gone over your calorie deficit? Do you still need to eat quite a bit more to hit your calorie deficit? Yeah, guilty. But it's just, like I said, super helpful. And my last tip before starting on a GLP-1 medication is to make sure that you have a great support system. Now, for some of you, that may not be your family. I hope it is. I hope that you can be open and honest with those people who surround you, those who love you, and that they will, be your cheerleaders and cheer you on during this journey and help you in any way they can. But I know that for a lot of people, that isn't something that they can rely on. So find something else. Maybe that is a Facebook group, but please make sure it's a positive Facebook group. There are so many that have trolls out there and people that are just mean and just don't want to answer questions and things like that. So find a good one. Or find, like I said, a support group. If you are part of a telehealth company, like for example, I belong to Join Fridays, and they have many different types of support groups that you can go on a weekly basis. So try to find somebody, like I said, whether it's a support group, whether it's a friend, if maybe it's your family, whoever it is, make sure that you have somebody in your corner. If you don't have any of those things, I will be your support group. I am always here to answer questions. Leave them in the comments. You're welcome to DM me on Instagram. I'm the same handle on Instagram as I am on here. I am more than happy to be your cheerleader and, your support. So that's one of the reasons why I started this channel. And I think you'll also find support from other people in the comments as well. So hopefully you can consider all of us that are a part of this community your support group. But like I said, I think it's really important if you're going to be successful to have some support behind you. So those are my top 10 tips before starting on a GLP-1 journey. I hope you found those helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you have any other great tips and things that you wish you had maybe done before you started on your journey, let's pay it forward, right? Put those in the comments below so that people who are coming after us can learn from maybe our mistakes, but also some of the things that we did really, really well. So that would be awesome. If you enjoyed the video, I would love it if you would give it a thumbs up. It does help the YouTube algorithm. And if you enjoy this kind of content, I would love to see you back here. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell down below so you know when I upload videos. If you want to keep watching me, there'll be another recommended video. This is what YouTube thinks you want to watch, so go ahead and click that. And remember, kindness and hate spread the same. The choice is yours. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.